All right, let's go ahead and look at a sample award letter. And again, I don't know exactly what your award letter looks like, but this is an award letter of a family who agreed to let me post their information and talk about it with all the attendees today. This particular student was attending a university where the cost of attendance was $20,138. So again, the cost of attendance is the cost that the university stated the student needs to go to school, and school is their job. When the young man received his award letter, he received the $5,500 in the Stafford loan, as we discussed on the previous slide, a school grant for $1,500, a state scholarship for $1,000, and he gets to work in the federal work-study program for a total of $2,000. So he gets to earn $2,000 through the federal work-study program. So his total award was $10,000. Again, the cost of attendance, what the school stated that he needed to pay for all of his expenses, was $20,138. So that leaves a remaining need of $10,138. So this is the point in the process where many families start to panic, and they say, we know we need $20,000, we're receiving $10,000 in aid, how are we going to come up with that remaining $10,000? What resources are available to us to pay this $10,000? So before we panic, let's talk about a few things that we can do to decrease that $10,000. One of the first things that you want to consider is, what are my fixed costs? In other words, what are the costs for my young adult to go to school that are fixed? I cannot do anything about them. I can't massage them at all. There's no way I can decrease these costs. Then you want to talk about flexible costs, and then other type of income and appeals. So that's what we're going to talk about next. As it relates to fixed costs, typically about 40% of the cost of attendance is going to be the tuition at an in-state university, and about 5% is going to be school fees. So at a $20,000 a year university, where the cost of attendance is $20,000, about $8,000 of that is going to pay for tuition, where just right at $1,000 will pay for school fees. These are your only fixed costs on an award letter: tuition and school fees. Everything else is a flexible cost. Let's talk about flexible costs for a moment. As it relates to, let's say, rent, the young adult might be sharing an apartment with someone and paying $400 a month. So the school may be allotting a little more than $400 a month in their cost of attendance. So the cost of attendance that the school provides is a calculation or a formula that they come up with based on their school fees, based on their tuition, and based on their general economy and cost of living in their area. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to spend that entire $20,000. So as we go through this example, again, I don't know what everyone's situation is, but as we go through the example, if you think about your own particular costs and just plug your own numbers in here, I can guarantee you going through this exercise will lower your cost of attendance. And you'll be able to do that simply by buying used books instead of new books, because the cost of attendance that the school includes in the cost of attendance, the school includes the cost for brand new books. So simply by purchasing used books, you're able to decrease your cost of attendance. So that's a flexible cost. Rent is a flexible cost. Let's say, again, in this example, that rent is $400. Over a 10-month period, an academic year is 10 months, you'll need $4,000 for rent. Let's say your food budget is $300 a month, so you need $3,000 for food. Again, we already talked about books. If you buy used instead of new, you're going to be able to cut down on your cost of attendance. And I just averaged $100 per used book, but I've actually seen them much cheaper than that. Let's assume we have a cell phone expense of $50 a month, and then we're going to buy a bus pass at $25 a month. So our total flexible costs are now $8,750. So if you take the $8,750 plus your fixed cost of $9,000, it gives your total cost $17,750. So going back to our previous slide, where the cost of attendance was $20,000, you've now decreased your cost of attendance to $17,750. Now again, not knowing everyone's situation and what everyone's budget is, If you go through this exercise, you may be able to reduce your cost of attendance significantly more, or maybe not quite as much as $2,300, but there is an opportunity there for you to work through your own budget and decrease your actual costs. So in our example, our total cost is now $17,750. We received $10,000 in financial aid, so now our remaining need has decreased to $7,750. So instead of needing $10,000 plus, now we only need $7,750.